of the benefits of our culture and the creatives beyond what we can see and hear. When we are stressed out, we know how to play the music, do the dance, and all those things. We sometimes maybe don't recognize what that means on our health in terms of the benefit that occurs later down and what it does in making sure you can live longer. Many people do not make that connection, and so automatically we think about protection in economic sense because we want to generate revenue. But what is it doing for you as an individual, as a people? And how do you ensure that you own that and you ensure that it becomes yours to keep? And that is something that we need to look at. How do we value something that is of intrinsic value and ensure that we are aware of the weight of that value?
And those are going to be specific to the segment. I know you mentioned in the coffee industry, and I understand that there's an implementation happening at JACRA, who is the coffee board, and there's going to be a way to geographically trace the coffee that comes out of the Blue Mountain so that it can be called Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, and the buyers overseas can have the confidence that it is what it is. So those types of things from a protection standpoint, and it's going to be different in sectors in entertainment, in registering your IP, making sure that we don't have the AI impact on some of our arts. So we get on the protection side. So if we think about how as a business and how as a brand we ride on the culture, and I know all of you guys export to different markets. Talk a little bit about your experience of having your product accepted in those markets. I know we've got some big examples. We can point at Red Stripe, we can point at Appleton, we can point at Wisynco, we can point at Seprod that has the products that are really cross borders. But Karima as a you're not so small anymore, but as a relatively small brand, how have you found that cultural drive of your product and acceptance in other markets?
Well, I would tell everybody that I mentor to make sure your product looks Jamaican. I remember someone coming and they did my marketing. It came from abroad and they did over my whole product label. I just did not use it because your brand have to look Jamaican. Have to say, "Come and buy me. I look Jamaican." I believe driving that Jamaican look will draw people to purchasing your products. You stick with the core colors, the yellow, the green. I see some local, especially with the cosmetic products. They don't want to look Jamaican, they want to look foreign. So they want to have a foreign look. And that is encouraging the public and the consumer to buy into Jamaica, where you're supporting the farmers, you're supporting the backward linkages, the suppliers or box company who employs persons. So we are, if we can drive that public education to the public, then they will probably buy more Jamaican. If they know that we keep 85,000 persons in a job, then soon a farmer who was as a little farmer would want to grow out his business from a hustle to a bustle.
I think it's a wonderful time to be alive, right? So much technology and digitization allows us to have the world at our reach, right? No matter how small you are, now because of things like Instagram and TikTok, you can promote your own product. You can push it out there. You can determine your budget and get it out there beyond the normal borders that, say, a small farmer with 2 employees or a shopkeeper with 5 employees who's making something can do. So you can now promote your own product.
But you have to get your distribution right.
Right, and I think that's where the local entities can come in and help. But even with, say, mentorship, we have the diaspora. And again, of course, I'm pushing the digital angle because I see so many opportunities where we don't need to get Jamaicans to come to Jamaica physically to have influence and share their knowledge. This is something that can be done over the air. You can reach out to people. They can reach out and mentor. A couple of months ago, I was in Florida, and I walked into a bank. And in that bank, they had 1 employee and 5 screens.
Wow.
And the 1 employee welcomed you in, and he directed, based on what you want, directed you to a screen, and there you connected with a rep who's sitting somewhere else, not in that physical location. But the rep is on screen helping you, talking to you, walking you through whatever needs you have. And when you're finished, there's a printer at the bottom of the screen. They print out whatever you need to sign it. There are ways now that we can incorporate the digital technology in expanding our reach for Brand Jamaica globally. Imagine if we take that technology and we now put a screen in the classroom, we can have international talent teaching our students here, showing them how to do the distribution, how we can develop our product even more. We have the brand, we have the knowledge, but what else can we do to get that reach out there? The possibility for me just seems endless.
Mark, I said it's coming together, because are you saying, for example, in school, you have a chemistry lab, a physics lab, all of these things should be in action to actually promote persons at the school who wants to, for example, have a cake or biscuit or cookies or cosmetic that they want to put on the shelf. If we start the kids from in school using a lab, maybe after school hours, and be able to produce their own product from school, they'll be proud of their brand by the time they graduate. By the time I graduated from the Queen School years ago, I had $50. That was enough money at the time anyway. I was 1983. I had $50. And I remember my son here, that's sitting there when he graduated from Calabar, he had a whopping $500 US, and that was a lot of money at the time, because he saved that. He saved that and he used that money to turn over. So when they see how they can turn that 500, and Mark, you gave me an interesting story. I didn't know you were actually coming from where I was, and your mom started in the room, and then you build up from that. So when we share this kind of stories, then I would say to anyone out there, you can't do it by yourself. You have to join associations, Jamaica Manufacturers Association, JBDC, SBJ, and anyone within your field, but you can't do it by yourself.
I'm glad that I'm hearing that, because very often we underestimate the value of social capital. That ability to influence others and to be a part of a community is critical for any business to succeed, and especially those in the creatives and the cultural industries. Because so much of what you do has to do with infiltrating different industries and different businesses and different organizations in order to sell your craft. And so it is important for us to ensure that we are promoting social capital, get into the different associations, get connected, get into the habit of using more technology and collaborating externally so that you can do much more and you can be more exposed. I think sometimes when we hear about AI, we get intimidated because we feel that it's going to take away what we have. Listen, the world knows what Jamaica has. And I think sometimes when I scroll my Instagram almost nightly because I need to catch up, and I do the unconventional media because I find that I get a whole lot of information and I filter my system so that I can get good information, right? But what you will see a lot is where people, the moment something happens in Jamaica, Jamaicans are on the platform and they are doing their thing, and people are connecting and people are growing interested in Jamaica. And I think that is showing us that there is something about us that people want to see and people want to hear and feel and touch. But the question is, how do we ensure that we are collaborating to monetize on that later down and making sure that we are not just doing a little thing, but we are actually formalizing and treating it like a business in terms of how you actually bring other people on board? That is some of the things we need to explore. How does AI assist us in terms of building our brand as individual businesses, as individual artisans, and allow us to go much further than we are today? That's something that we need to. We're a little intimidated, I think, and when we hear the little music playing and so on, we get worried that we're going to lose out on our culture. No, we need to rethink how we get this to make sense. Where's the social capital that I need to combine to my talent in order to do more, to collaborate, to reach the world in a better way? So we need to look at that as well.
I like that you mentioned this idea of the platforms, because it's the people who own the platforms who are going to have control of what comes out of it. I mean, I'll give you an example. It pains me to drive past the craft market downtown because it is empty. There is no foot traffic. But what if we were to have a website like Etsy that is dedicated towards handcraft or specially crafted items, and this is now our online craft market? So our reach goes beyond the foot traffic, beyond the cruise ships, beyond the people who are just walking by in Ocho Rios, but it also brings with it that certain level of authenticity. And I see Kamisha nodding, but it goes back to what she said earlier. Whatever ideas we're discussing now, we have to be intentional about it. I think brand Jamaica has carried us along for so long without us having to do much. It's time now that we become intentional about it, develop the policies, develop the systems, and own the pipelines that are going to be distributing our culture, our brand, and the products that we're manufacturing.
Very well said.
Yeah, Mark. We talk about digital dissemination and owning platforms. I'm a bit old school. My hair is gray. The connectivity, so the movement of goods in our region. Who knows that Jamaica is one of the largest natural deep water ports in the world? It's actually number 7. That Jamaica, from a movement of goods in our region, there are 3 ports in the region that are large. Cartagena, Colombia, in Damrep, and the port of Kingston. Our connectivity to the region and the greater Latin American region is as good as any of those ports. We get our goods and services, our goods in ocean freight to other markets as efficiently as anywhere else. Did everybody know that? So once you sell it, once you market it, once you create markets, distribution always wins, making sure you can get your product to the people how they want it, when they want it. It's important to understand that, yes, our culture has an outsized reach, but we also have a lot of physical things. We're the largest English-speaking Caribbean island. We've got the connectivity of our ports. We've got the diaspora out there. So these are things that set us up. We've got challenges. We've got high costs of energy. We've got a lot of things that we have to face, but they're not insurmountable because of all of the benefits that we have.
I wanted to add something different and apart from that, that Jamaica has so much, as you said, as it relates to like marl and bauxite. But just to add that we have 232 different herbs that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. 232 species. It may exist, but it's not as potent as it is in Jamaica. Who knows somebody called Farm Boy who registered with the IG? Farm Boy himself just a tree for $7,000 or $8,000, and he's constantly on Instagram. Farmer Boy, I think that's his name on Instagram, and he's selling loads of hundreds or thousands of dollars. And whenever you contact him, he's always out. One mango tree is for $5,000-$6,000. How many of the youth are actually thinking about that? He started when he was about 7 or 8 years old. How can we get Jamaicans to understand that they can just make money from nothing, from just the dirt and some water? Actually nothing. This is what we want to do with the Buy Jamaica, Build Jamaica campaign, is to educate them that everybody is important, down to the farm boy is important.
100%. Yeah. The other thing that we've been asked to talk about is how do we keep more of the value chain in Jamaica? Again, we've exported our bauxite for years. We've never made an ounce of aluminum here in Jamaica. Those are the types of things that going forward is capturing more of the value and not exporting all the value. But that takes investment and capital and capital markets that take some risk. And so there's a lot to that. We want to make it interactive. So let's stop and see any hands in the audience of anyone that's got any questions or comments or items you'd like feedback on. If you show hands, we'll bring a mic around. We've got one in the back. Can we get a mic back there?
My son just sent
In the back.
My son just sent me a correction. It's not 500 at high school. It was 500 at primary school.
If we could just have a name, organization, just a quick introduction.
Good morning. Dwayne Brown here. Oh, Brown here? Good? Okay. All right, Dwayne Brown here, Youth Empowerment Officer from the Youth and Adolescents Policy Division in the Ministry of...
From where?
Education, Skills, Youth and Information. Now, our culture, a big part of our culture is food, our spices, agriculture. However, I realize that the young people, they do not readily want to get into agriculture. These spices like our turmeric, our curry, ginger, stuff like that, that we love as a people and that we want to export and put out there. How can we use things such as the AI to make agriculture more attractive to them? How can we get them more involved? Since this new generation is about the computer, the AI, the technology, how can we make it in such a way that they are attracted to agriculture and want to get into agriculture? Because how they see agriculture is water boat, machete, the traditional ways of farming. So how can we use these modern tools to get them motivated?
I'll leave the AI to Mark, but my quick 2 cents on that is I think every generation says that about the last. I mean, everybody says the new generation isn't. I don't think it's going to be AI that attracts them. I think it's going to be scaling those businesses and making money. I think the opportunity is going to be the attraction. I don't think everything needs to be dressed up in digital tools and put on social media. It's going to be the opportunity. It's going to be the scaling of these businesses and building larger agricultural businesses. But again, that's a gray hair talking.
I can add a little to that. So with the new Agro Invest Corporation, they are actually building out agro parks all over. I mean, some of us at the JMA, we just got agricultural lands easily. That's because we had a vision of where we want to go. So together we are going to be doing a lot more AI or a lot more technical form of like pre-larceny, which is what most persons are afraid of going into. So we are going to come together and have our drone security. So everything is going to be more modernized. So once a little farmer boy hear about him don't want to plant something and somebody come thief it from him. So I just want to hear that there's going to be something more technical advanced. And if you're working with the AIC, they have a program that they can assist you, or they can give you technical advice. And
so just to recap that, you're saying that there's been a group of companies in the agricultural sector that got land from JBDC, the farmland,
AIC,
and are joining AIC. I'm sorry, and are joining up to share the infrastructure needed, so everybody isn't duplicating all the infrastructure needed in their small farms. So just to make sure everybody understood.
Right. So being a member of the JMEA, we got our members. We have over 500 members, so we got them in clusters, person of the same interest, because we keep running out of raw supplies. So the agro-processors decided to go into farming I don't know anything about farming, but I guess we can get there. I mean, with all the technical skills that's available now, we can get there. And I'm encouraging you again to join clusters and work together.
Yeah. So I agree with you both. I don't think AI or digitization or automation is going to be the thing that makes people fall in love with agriculture. For me, AI plays a supporting role. So you can certainly use AI to make the processes easier. You can use automation to make the process flow faster. But I think if anybody is going to get into farming, it's because they love the soil or they love business and they recognize an opportunity. Yes. The bigger question for me is, how are we going to make doing business in Jamaica easier? How are we going to make doing business more accessible to people who are operating in the micro and small to medium spaces, so that it is not overwhelming? You don't think you have to have a big factory and all of that stuff. If you want to start off as an individual, you go here, you do this, and you start with this while using social media and AI to promote your business, to educate yourself, to do research as a support. But the love is going to come from the heart, either because you love farming or you see an opportunity where you can do something big.
Mark, I think we have to understand that the Jamaican culture, they don't understand that government facilities are there to help them. They don't really understand that AIC and different government agencies has opportunities for them. So educating them into going into farming, they need to know that opportunities are there. Most of them don't want to register a business, so that is where we fall short. I have been mentoring people all my life, like 4 or 5 persons for the week, and most persons do not want to register their company because they're fear of taxation. So if we can encourage them to alternative to make, if we can encourage them to get into farming, maybe we can give them a year moratorium of taxes, maybe.
Just, I can't answer that part, but, I'd like to take up on the point of using technology as a tool, an enabling tool to support what you're trying to do, regardless of the type of business. We actually have a project, the Digital Jamaica project, that is being implemented, well, one component of which is being implemented by the ministry's agency, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. And what we are aiming to do is to take businesses through the process of digitalization, and the digital transformation. Why is this important? We did a gap assessment and recognize our results are showing that we are woefully unattached when it comes down to technology for the most part. We don't have our websites. We don't use the tools to do simple processes in our businesses that will make us more efficient and productive. And we are just not exposed enough in terms of how we do business. And so through that project, we are aiming to encourage more participation in the digital space. We have trained a number of entrepreneurs, and we are taking persons, because it's a continuum, so digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. Once we are through with all 3 sets of training, we are aiming to ensure that you have at least one tool in your organization that you're using. So that's the focus of that particular program. It's an EU-sponsored program, and we have been doing quite well. We are in year 3 of the program, and I think a lot more businesses need to be brought on. We are looking to expand it because we recognize this is the only way we can boost productivity in this country. The simple processes that some of our hairdressers and our very small businesses are doing can easily be turned over to technology. But sometimes we get so timid and we don't want to engage technology because we don't understand it. And so we have to introduce the training and the tools at the same time. About the businesses and making it easier, we are there with you. We are ensuring that through the companies of Jamaica, for instance, registration is not that hard. It was hard before, but it's faster now. You can go online and do your registration. You can do it as a business name, where it's just you register it and become a proper business person with some, you feel a little bit of prestige when you know that you're registered, right? And in terms of taxes, it's not everybody going to have to face the tax. Remember that there are provisions in place to ensure that we safeguard the tiny ones that are just coming up. So we have policies in place, but sometimes we block our minds and we don't engage government and the systems and the arrangements that we have in place to support what you do. And so I want to encourage us, read more, engage the ministry. This ministry, we have 20 agencies that support businesses along the value chain. We're not agriculture. I see agriculture being represented here. So I can't speak too much about the farming, but once you are seeking to become commercialized and you want to export and so on, that is where you come to us and our agencies for support.
Oh, good morning, everybody. My name is Sasha Todd, and I'm from Bizet Consulting. We're a market research firm. I just wanted to, earlier you said that a lot of small businesses avoid getting registered because they don't want to go through taxation, and that might be true for some. But I don't think, from my experience, that is true for most. I think that it can be very difficult and daunting, and I can say that from my own experience, trying to formalize a business. And I want to give the government of Jamaica credit because we've gone miles ahead of where we used to be. I mean, the first time I tried to do something on my own, it was a whole thing. You had to go down to NHT separately. You had to go to the tax office. You had to go to the NIS office. You had to go to Heart office. And none of those things were digitized. You have to literally go down there every 3 months and do it. It was a burden. And after a couple of months, I was like, I'm not doing this again, right? During COVID, I started my business, and it was a lot easier. You can register your business online at the company's office now, but guess what? You still can't renew it online, right? So, we started to do some things and make some things accessible digitally, but we have not gone far enough to make it easy for small businesses, right? If you want to register as an LLC and now you have to get audited statements every year, that's a huge cost, right? That a lot of small businesses can't afford. We talk about digital access and, using social media to promote yourself. But I think, some of the JBDC did a survey in 2024, and only 47% of businesses use computers and have access to computers, not even talk about software, right? You want to promote your business, all right? Sure, you have things like Canva that might be free and easy, but suppose they want to go beyond that. Adobe Photoshop costs thousands of dollars, US dollars, right? Where do they get that? How do they access that? And these are the kinds of things that we need to put in place if we want to make an enabling environment for small businesses, right? Even things like insurance, right? I can't afford to insure myself or my employees because my business is too small. And every insurance business out there, they have a minimum number of people who can qualify, right? You have to have, this much money, right? And I would love to see the business support organizations look at all of these. Sometimes it starts with the small things, little practical things, like how can we offer insurance so that people can continue in their businesses and feel financially secure and stable enough to offer their employees a reason to stay instead of migrating and doing, other things, right? These are the things we have to talk about.
No, absolutely. Your point is well taken. I just wanted to make the point that it sounds like a small issue, but the estimates in how much of our economy is the underground economy. Underground not meaning it's illegal, but just meaning unregistered companies that are outside of the tax sphere. It's in the 40% of our GDP in terms of our GDP per capita now is right about 7,200. You add 40% on top of that, all of a sudden you're at 11,000. It is not an insignificant issue if we can get small businesses and businesses who are on the fringes involved in the system.
No, quite true. And to this young lady's point, when we talk about falling in deeper in love with Jamaica and, protecting our culture, it's not just protecting the thing or the asset. It's also about what she's saying, enabling Jamaicans here to do things much easier. Imagine somebody's here with an idea, with a thought, with a business plan, but they're burdened by the difficulties of doing business, and drawing a parallel with somebody who's sitting in Sweden who can formulate a business quite easily and create Jamaican products, have them manufactured in China and shipped to the US or all over the world without having to go through the struggles that we're going through here. So I just want to broaden our concept of when we're talking about protecting what we own. It's not just the thing. It's not just the asset. It's also about the process. It's about the people. It's about how we allow our people to have easier access to doing the things that we can do, to allow them to create, to allow them to ideate, and to allow not them, us, to produce.
I think we have another comment in the back.
Well, all right, a comment and a question. I want to know if the participants here recognize that we have a new MSME policy that was drafted in 2024, which captures a number of things that we think needs to get done, So the policy speaks to the orange economy, it speaks to the blue economy, the silver economy, the green economy, it speaks to senior entrepreneurship. It speaks to digital literacy, financial and entrepreneurship literacy. It speaks to digitizing the entire platform. And the question that is in my mind, why I'm not hearing anything about the policy. Why we draft these things, why we do these things, which is the same as or even exceed global standards that's supposed to guide what we're supposed to do in the MSME space. Which, and bear in mind, we can talk about Vision 2030. And we can talk about the SDGs. And when we look at the goals, if you look at the goals of Vision 2030, that all Jamaicans are empowered to achieve their fullest potential. That is not a strict economic goal. That the society is cohesive and just. That is not a strict economic goal. The third one might be a strict economic goal that the economy is prosperous. But the fourth one is environmental. It's not a strict economic goal, which means then that the traditional thinking about business won't allow us to attain the SDGs or Vision 2030. It has to be broadened and focus on the people who make the money stay in Jamaica, which is the MSME sector. Focus on the people who mainstream gender, youth, and persons with special needs in their operations. So again, in my head, I'm still asking, why we do this big national consultation? Why we pay a consultant? And by the way, as the one who draft the policy as a consultant, why we pay a consultant to do the work? How we not implementing the policy? Like it's a joke thing with the country. We don't have no shortage of solutions and answers, and you show where you can get it done. But I am not seeing the policy being implemented. We don't like people who waste the time. Serious about it, because I use the time to other things as well.
If I may just quickly respond. Well, we have not spoken about our 2024 policy because we have not yet promulgated such a policy. We are still using the 2018 policy and working to finalize the new policy. What happened is that we would have had consultations, we would have had more content added, but we had to undergo additional review because some thematic matters were still missing. And so we are working to get that one out of the ministry this year. We do have the reviewer going through because we recognize that certain things as it pertains to climate change and other matters having to do with finance, there would have been recent changes that we have not been able to adequately address in the policy. Matters of equity financing was not properly addressed, and so we needed to spend more time making sure certain thematic matters are built in and that we are building a proper ecosystem with those considerations in mind. Equity financing, for instance, is not a very common thing in the MSME space. A lot of businesses, because they are not willing to formalize cannot benefit because a lot of your equity partners, your investors will require that you have your records and that require that you do your audited financials. And so we're looking at how we work towards building out a system that will encourage more businesses to look at equity financing as a solution, and especially when you're going into emerging economies and emerging industries and new businesses like technology-based businesses. You have to, when you want to attract investors in these areas, and a lot of investors are looking for solutions coming from IT, they want to see your documents, your records that will allow for them to evaluate whether or not they are going to make wise decisions by working with you. So there are things that we're still reviewing because we recognize that there were thematic matters that did not adequately address the concerns that are affecting the sector, and we're working towards that. Now, the policy is being implemented, and Dr. Naif knows that he would have done his gap analysis and recognized that a good 90% of what was outlined in the 2018 policy was actually implemented. So we do have record to show that we have had success in terms of rolling out certain elements of the policy, a significant portion of the 2018 policy. But we do know and recognize we do have a lot of work to do. Jamaica, in order for us to advance our economy, we must recognize that our MSME sector is the backbone in truth, because this is where individuals and households are supported. And this is where we build from micro to large businesses. And so we recognize that there is a strong role for the sector. And so we have a role to play in ensuring that we are consistently rolling on not just the policy in terms of documentation, but strategies and different types of actions that will make sure that we see the results that we want to see at the end of the day.
And I think part of the point that I took from the comment was that we can't measure where we are just from GDP alone. If we're not taking the social, the fabric of the country along with us, then we're really not moving forward, except we're making some money for the people who are making money already. So your point is very well taken. We're almost at the end of time. We'll take one more.
Thank you so much. This, I think, will go back to a policy issue. So I work at the PIOJ with the Community Renewal Program Unit, which means we focus a lot on the grassroots businesses. We work closely with SDC, and you have over 400 nano enterprises. My observation over the years is there is a gap, I would say, or a disconnect in how we support nano enterprises along the business continuum. So we have JBDC, we have SDC, we have JAMPRO, all of that, but we don't have a system that is so integrated to move these smaller businesses up to the point that they can scale and even export. And so I guess my question is, what is, or I'm recommending a policy position that looks at integrating the systems that we do have in a much better way, that you have like a graduating process. You start at this level, and we know you finish with SDC, you go over to JBDC, you go over to DBJ, JAMPRO, but we need that to be tightened up some more, because the potential that we have, we're saying MSMEs are the drivers of the economy, which is true, but we have a whole lot of grassroots enterprises that have some fabulous items, but they need more support.
Join the JMA.
Okay, great. I'll make it happen.
Social capital again, and we do emphasize that. But just want to say I am in support of looking at how we work in an integrated way to take our businesses along a journey. There's a concept called journey management. We're looking at that as a ministry. And in fact, we recognize that often, a lot of times, what you'll find is that businesses don't know where to go. So you're here, and you perhaps want to know a little bit about trade. You don't know sometimes where to go. So we're looking at a platform that will allow our businesses to identify where they are and where they may need to go next in terms of getting support, in terms of getting investment, getting financing, and that kind of thing. So that is important, that cohesiveness across government and the different types of intervention is critical, and we are definitely looking at that. We are working, for instance, with the U.S. Overseas Office of Technical Assistance, and we're looking at our MSME hub. It's a central place where we can share critical information on the sector, whether it is data that you need to influence your policies or your decisions, whether it is support institutions, both in government and outside of government, that you'd want to know more about, whether it is just interacting on a platform, marketing, we're looking at gamification and certain things. We are building out, we have to use technology because it is so complex, and the way we do things in government sometimes is a little complex and has many moving parts. So we are looking at how we use technology to build one platform that will bring it all together to make it easier for businesses.
I thank everyone on the panel. We're out of time. Apologies. I'd like to thank the PIOJ for having us. This is a wonderful event. I think in the spirit of what it's trying to do. So as we leave here, we keep things moving forward. Jamaica love. Thank you.
Mr. Mark Frankson, Ms. Karima Munsi, and Mrs. Latoya Richards Franklin, thank you all so much for such an insightful fireside chat discussion. Did we enjoy that? Yes, we learned a lot? Absolutely. One thing is for sure, two things are for certain, is that everything is hard. Jamaicans love complaining, Lord, it's hard. We have to go here so, and we need to go there so. You gotta learn to choose your hard, man. Because life is an ongoing process and everything takes a little investment in time and effort. Some things, yes, of course we can quarrel and say, boy, why does this have to take 2-3 days, 2-3 weeks? And yes, those things we have to improve on, that's for sure. But there are certain things that if you go anywhere else in the world, it's going to require some effort. And if it even means going online and filling out a form of 7 pages, yes, you're going to have to carve out a little half an hour and fill out the form of 7 pages, and no, it's not going to take 3 answers alone. Because when you're doing things correctly, you're doing things correctly. You want to make sure you're covering all bases. So sometimes, Jamaican people will love cuss, Lord, it hard, Babylon system, government, and we'll cuss out everybody and everything. But guys, trust me, no matter where you go in the world, it could be the most advanced spaces in the world. Singapore, Dubai, count them. Everything requires process. Everything requires time. Everything requires research. It requires effort. It requires collaboration. It requires going deeper than what you thought you knew. Because you don't know everything. You don't know everything. It requires collaboration with people who you may not necessarily like how them look. But you have to make sure that you are agile enough. And business entrepreneurship is about agility. It's about pivoting. So no matter what you think, me know this, I'm a grandmother, I'm a grandfather, I'm a great-grandfather, I'm a great-grandmother. Yes, that's all well and good, and it may have served their time well. But now we're stepping into a new era in life. And so that means that we're going to have to remove certain biases, remove certain things that are holding us back. It makes no sense that we're holding on to the things that we think are actually culturally right. And if we really examine and audit it properly, it's actually a prejudice. It's actually something that's holding you back from moving forward. And so we have to really and truly, in Jamaican terms, use sense. Have to use sense. So thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is really important that we do that if we want to advance our intentions, our dreams, our aspirations, and our businesses to make Jamaica the place that we want to live in, work, raise families, do business, and retire in, because we want to stay here. We don't want to leave. See people leaving Jamaica and then returning, because no, we don't better than yard. Right? No, we don't better than yard. Absolutely. Even when we had the cold front the other day, we said, boy, this nicey. It's nicey, man. It's cold, but it's nice. Right? So absolutely, man. And we have the answers here in Jamaica. We do. We absolutely have the answers right here in Jamaica. We can do it. We have to think bigger, and do more. So a part of the things that we are known for internationally, in addition to Bob Marley and reggae and Usain Bolt and the sprinting and the running, is that we have the most fashionable people in the audience and worldwide. Am I right or am I right? Yes. So, Mr. DJ, can we have some fashion appropriate music, please? As we get ready, yes, we're going to ask the team members to just get our stage ready as we move forward. And in the meantime, we're going to walk around the room and I'm going to tap some people. In fact, you know what? I think one of the most fashionable ladies inside here is Miss Karima Munsi. Can you please stand first because of the vibrancy of these colors, Munsi? Can you just walk out for us, please? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, wow. The one, the only. She is a boss lady of home choice and she's looking absolutely wonderful. Looking like a wonderful ray of sunshine. Wow. I know everything she has on is made in Jamaica. It's just right? We're going to say that it was made right here in Jamaica. Oh, she's not done. Okay, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the home choice branded bags. Is not? Okay, I thought. I'm ahead of myself. Sorry. Crocus bag collection. Zoom in for me, please. On the crocus bag collection. Who said crocus bag was an ugly thing? Look at this work of art. Right? Buy Jamaican locally made stuff. And you know one thing with crocus bag, right? You fling it down, you take it up, you wash it, it's not going nowhere. Durability for days and years. Okay, let me see who else is in the room who's fashionable now. That gentleman right over there, you have on a shirt that's very interesting. A combination of what's that? Pink and green and white. Can you stand for us, please? Show off your shirt. Show off your shirt for the camera. That's it. Who says gentlemen can't wear a little touch of pink? And the shoes. So I must show with the shoes. I see all kind of thing on the shoes. Eiffel Tower, glasses. All right. Buy a foreign watch. Okay. All right. You show off though. Okay. Let me see who else is in the room. The gentlemen who are here looking dapper. Oftentimes we don't big up the men when them come out, right? We're always bigging up the ladies. Hi, sir. If you're not too busy, can you stand for us, please? I just want to make some commotion for the suit. Please. Ladies, your turn. Yeah, there you go. Hey. It's Valentine's Day, right? We just want to know, are you looking at gifts this Valentine?
Absolutely.
He's open for a gift, ladies. Just saying this Valentine's Day. Cupid, draw back your bow, okay? Okay. Prof, I know you don't want to highlight, we don't say a man with a light camera and them something, but come show off your fashion, come. You always have on, yeah man, you always look dapper, you know, say a real cha-cha boy long time. Come show off the fashion and show off the shoes. Listen, the man think about him fashion, the shoes match the shirt, match, hey, come the man. Come the man. Let's come walk with you, man. Show them the real pose now, come show them the real pose. Can you make some commotion for the gentleman, please? I love the fringe. Them don't know them style here, you know. Them don't know them sustainable styles. Hello. I want to see if there's somebody else. I need a lady in the room who's dressed fashionably. In her Jamaican color, she is wearing the flag. Stand for us, please. She's a Jamaican girl. That's right. So when I say, oh my God, you're from Jamaica, you say, how did you know? How did you pick it up? I didn't know I was so obvious. And the lady over there in the Jamaican shirt, can you stand for us as well, please? Thank you for repping. Oh, and she has it on as well. There we go. And as you can see, the branding in the middle is all glitzy. I love that. Touch of sparkle. Very girly, very nice. Love that. Love that for you. And then come here now, come stand up for winner, man. Come stand up for winner, man. Come stand up for winner, man. Because who's the lawyer can't dress? Doctor, professor. Huh? My dress? You like my dress? Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm coming out with a limited line.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Debbie Bassoon. Yeah, man, for your dress. Give her a gift too. Because you just look good.
I thank you so much for asking them for a gift for me. Because I like the basket them up there. So Let's see what will happen. But ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for everybody in the room who is not just showing up here, but showing up here classy and looking good. Because one thing with us Jamaican people, we're going to dress up and look nice. Them cannot outdress us. And I don't know if you knew this, but I'm sure many of you may have or may have seen it this weekend. When you had Bad Bunny at the Grammy, well, it was the Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl. The gentleman was there balling out Jamaica. And now you look on the field, somebody's there with the Jamaican flag waving it. Yes, Cardi B's on tour. And at one of the stops she made recently, on the stage, you're looking at a Jamaican flag. The world does not continue without us. Jamaica, yes! It doesn't move without us. And culture is, of course, the vehicle that we have been using time and again to move things forward. And of course, we want to make sure that the world knows us for the things that we produce, right? So I beg of you, please, for the persons who are still waiting, considering, should I be joining this association, JMEA? Should I be going on to Jaipur and getting my business, covered under trademark and IP? Should I be going on to the company's office and registering my business? Yes. Yes, you should be. Please, we beg of you to get your affairs in order because the world is waiting. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward. We're going on to reflection. Jamaica at a crossroads, regional and global considerations of resilience. So at this time, we're going to be inviting Mr. Joseph Cox, Caribbean Business Review and Managing Partner for the Institute for Innovation and Growth, to come forward. And he's going to be providing a strategic perspective on our current economic landscape and the critical reflections on today's proceedings, Jamaica at a crossroad. Please make him welcome to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Slight change in plan. I'm prepared with a nice technical presentation. But guess what? After all of what we have seen, what we have heard from Sydney and team, I don't think you all want to hear any long, drawn-out something from me. So I'm going to cut it quite a bit short. But one of the things that I would like to say is, after listening to the various presentations, I want to start with one very basic thing. It's supposed to be familiar to everybody in this room. And it's simply this. Amen, amen, amen. Now, when I say amen, I usually use amen at the end of a prayer. But in this case, you know what this prayer is? Prayer of hope. Because one of the things that we have to recognize about Jamaica and where we are now is where we're coming from and where we're going to. Jamaica is coming from a space where in 2013 we had a debt to GDP ratio of 147%. As of September 2025, we're down to what, 60.3%. Yes, Hurricane Melissa came along, and now we're pushing up back now to 68.2% at the end of the fiscal year. But here is the reality of life. Whereas that is significant in and of itself, it defines a brand new problem for us in this country. Because the 68% is no longer a crisis number, it's a management number. And that's what we have to be doing now. We have to learn to manage and manage a process to ensure it is optimized. Because as going forward, debt sustainability depends far less on adjustment rather than really growth quality, execution, and resilience. Those are the watchwords we have to look at. But fundamentally, as we look at where the economy is now, we recognize something further. Inflation is it had moderated, but it's supposed to be post-pandemic, go to 9.5%. But you know what the real question is, or the real issue is now? And I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, has Jamaica stabilized an economic model whose structural limits are now being exposed by the global system itself? Now, there's a fundamental question where we have to ask ourselves, because, you see, we have to recognize what resilience is. Resilience is not a balance sheet. We're going way past that stage. But at the same time, the Jamaica that we live in, we're at a crossroads. We don't face a lack of ideas, as evidenced by the presentations from both Kamisha, who tried to embarrass because the hero is in full retreat with moose. Now, can you imagine? But when I listen to Sydney and other members of the JMA, I mean, one can't help but be buoyed by the progress, by the vision that's been displayed, etc. But what we face is not a lack of ideas, but what we need to treat with very frontally is a misalignment of our incentive framework. No matter how we want to do it, we have to recognize that short political cycles reward defensibility over transformation. That's just a fact of life. We have built a culture of risk aversion. We have to circumvent that. And at the same time, in so doing, what we end up with is an import-dependent, low-retention equilibrium. Sound fancy and all of that. Reality of life, though, is that where we are going now is that if we don't treat with the issues as they are, our best policies will continue to underperform, and we can't afford that. We're living in an era now of what we call economic coercion, where, you've noticed, we're not subject to overt sanctions and all of that, what we used to see before. It's not quiet, soft power. You see the argument about your visas? That is a part of economic coercion. That's just a reality of life. We don't make it up. But you see, within the CARICOM frame, we have a challenge that goes across all the countries. High trade openness, narrow export and revenue base, limited buffers against externalities. Our intra-regional trade is roughly 15%. Right? Of the total Caribbean trade, intra-regional trade is only 15%. So therefore, we look to the JMA to boost those numbers considerably. But we have to recognize something even more fundamental, and is this. Recovery, though it has been swift coming out of Hurricane Melissa, recovery is not transformation. There is a whole lot of work that is still left to be done. And whereas Jamaica has been moving a pace in terms of its recovery processes and developmental processes, we have to recognize that we are beset with low productivity. And we have to change that. And low productivity is not just an economic weakness, it's a strategic vulnerability. So, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going with this now is that the central risk that Jamaica faces is not collapse, not even a long shot. But what it faces is modest growth, if you ask me, anemic growth, persistent leakage, constrained ambition, none of which are viable in the 2026 and going forward. That's no longer viable. So we have to reorient what we are doing. And, you know, when I was listening to the fireside chat, it struck me. Part of the challenge that we continue to face in this country, and Sydney raised it, is the informality. You have 40% of your economy that's informal, right? That compromises your revenue flows, even the efficiency of your policy. Because if you don't know, if you don't have the data to do the requisite management and planning, then it becomes constrained. And of course, you have the low adoption of modern management practices. I mean, yes, I know some people are of the view that, you know, if you don't adopt some of these modern things, you don't use a computer, you don't do this, you don't do that. what you're doing is that you're avoiding the tax man. It really doesn't help you. Because what is happening is that if your business is small and you're not growing, over time you will stagnate and die. I'm told I have 1 minute left. So let me shut up. All right, folks, here is the other part of it that we have to look at. And I'm going to skip straight to it. Is that we have to recognize the adverse dynamic that we face in this country in a number of areas. One, you can't have the level of theft that is going on. Utility theft and infrastructure damage, 350 million US a year. That's crazy. Add to that, predial larceny, 5 to 6 billion a year. If you're adding the opportunity cost, 30 billion a year. Right? That is where we are. But you know what the good part of it is, that where are the real opportunities, where we're going? Because even in terms of tourism, part of the challenge and part of the dynamic that we face is that there is significant leakage. 40.8 cents out of the US dollar is what we retain from every tourism dollar. That means 60% of it is going. And before you start to lament and say, oh God, that's it for Jamaica. No. In the Bahamas, it's 25%. It's 25 cents out of every dollar that they get. Antigua and Barbuda, they import 90% of the foods that they use in the tourism industry. 90%. What that means? Thin value chains. Right? On a market not responsive to the demands. That is the dynamic, and that's where we're coming from. That's why we have to be proud of ourselves, because in some markets, we actually have, for tourism, you have a negative net tourism value added. When you add in the infrastructure costs, and you talk about the repatriated funds, the overseas management, etc., etc., this is the reality that we face within the region. So, but let me be direct, folks, because since I only have a minute, and I'm sorry, I'm a Jamaican, I don't know what time is. So let me be direct. What we need, one, our productivity has to be elevated. It has to move from aspiration to explicit national objective. Two, our digital strategy must shift from access to output and tradability. Three, the knowledge economy must be anchored domestically, aligning training, innovation, finance, and retention incentives. Four, Jamaica must pursue value chain strategies. Just for clarity, government does not determine value chains. Right? That is the role of the private sector, and that's where I look to see the development. And finally, and probably most critically, institutional execution must be treated as a strategic constraint and not an afterthought. You see, but how you measure this? Because it's the easy thing. I'm not here to go tell you, oh, look at if they can get the tourism retention numbers up. That is the sign of success. No, it's a series of things. One, rising domestic value retention across key sectors. When I look at Ms. Muncie, and you go into every bar, if you don't see it, it's not a good bar. That's all I have to say. You have to see the shrimp, because pepper, anyhow, they may not spoil you people. Rising domestic value retention, sustained improvements in capital budget execution, greater firm-level productivity and scaling, deeper domestic participation in regional and global value chains, and institutions that reward outcomes and not just compliance. Crazy folks, here is reality. The crossroads we're at is not about fixing what was broken. It's about deciding whether Jamaica builds an economy that creates value, retains agency, and absorbs shocks, or one that simply manages constraints more skillfully than before. In the global system where access is conditional and discretion is power, resilience is no longer optional here, no longer optional. But I'm also, it is actually survival by design. But before I step down, let me just give you some quick takeaways from the fireside chat, which was shared with me just now. So one, Jamaica's cultural capital is an economic asset, but does not guarantee economic benefit. Structural monetization, I can't read the rest of it, but let me start at that one. Protection of brand Jamaica needs policy and awareness plus action. That's so absolutely true. You know how many years ago I started a magazine? I always remember it. And bear with me, with you are your 1 minute. I'm not a 1 minute man, never was. Anyway, just point out something though. When I started a magazine, how many years ago? It was just produced and distributed in Jamaica. A friend of mine called me one day and said, boy, you're gone, big man, you're in New York. He said, me? I mean, I'm not product in New York. I'm trying to build out what I have locally. I'm saying, you can stay there. Your magazine is big in the indigenous stores, being sold. Poor me don't know nothing about it. So, take that as it is. Because this is the world in which we live. People will take your intellectual property. They will. There is no question about it. And one of the things we, as a people, we need to recognize is that old-time values and scruples, they don't work necessarily in a global environment because you have people who operate with no scruples and will take not even think twice in coming into Jamaica, seeing you have your product and replicate it and run with it and actually register the patent for it. Right? And these are some of the things that we have to safeguard against. And of course, I'm also guided here about ease of business remains a critical barrier to MSME growth. And in that respect, I will just add one thing to my friend down the back. Try to open a bank account as a small business and then you find out what truth is. And of course, finally, resilient growth requires integrated systems, not isolated initiatives. There's not much more to say to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I thank you for your time. I hope I have not kept you too long from your lunch. But, I really couldn't spare the opportunity of sharing some thoughts. And as I take my leave of you, I have but one simple request. All the while I see Debbie soon up here, jumping up and down and, guiding people. And yet I'm waiting to hear her sing. With that, I go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, can someone please tell Mr. Cox I'm not booked in that capacity this evening, please? Thank you very much. For another time, I will, you guys can call Kamisha because she's also booking Dr. Henry. So, exactly. If you want me to sing, you just know how to call, right? But very insightful presentation. I wish we really had more time with you because I'm sure the audience members would have loved to really dive a little bit deeper into what you were saying and ask some questions as well. But can we put our hands together, please, for Mr. Joseph Cox? Thank you so much, sir. And we're very happy to have you here with us. And we look forward to hearing from you another time because I do believe this should be an ongoing discussion. We can't just wait until we have significant observances or events like this. We have to keep the conversation about Jamaica and growing Jamaica ongoing every day, every week, man. We consume so much news around the world about other parts of the world and what's happening with them. And we have to really mind our own business. Literally, we have to really zone in and really look at what we are doing and how we are growing, sustaining, and actually expanding our offerings to our local people, yes, and to the entire world. So, very happy that we had you here with us, sir. Thank you so much for the time that you spent with us. We're moving on. Vision 2030, Jamaica, Love Jamaica Essay Competition. So, we're going to be hearing a little bit about that. We're inviting Mrs. Samantha Wilmot Wilby. You've seen her all around the place running up and down. She deserves your round of applause, please. As she comes to the stage, one of the hardest working women in this industry.
Okay. So, Joseph definitely put me on the spot because I'll be one of the persons standing between you and your lunch. But, we have to launch the Vision 2030 Jamaica Love Jamaica National Essay Competition. And, in recent times, Jamaica, like many small island developing states, has faced significant shocks: global financial uncertainty, the COVID-19 pandemic, and other health challenges, and the growing realities of climate change and environmental vulnerabilities as well. So more recently, we experienced Hurricane Melissa. And that hurricane reminded us again of both our exposure to risk and our remarkable capacity to endure, whether we want to believe it or not. You ever go down the west and you see the people down there happy same way? And you wonder how? Yeah, man. So the Love Jamaica essay competition is therefore not just a writing exercise. It is a national conversation, one that invites Jamaicans across generations to pause, reflect, and share their perspectives on who we are, what we have endured, and what gives us hope, and how we can build a stronger, more resilient Jamaica for generations to come. So this competition will cover 3 age groups. So you have youth ages 15 to 29, adults ages 30 to 59, and senior citizens ages 60 and over. So we're leaving no one behind. Now, by engaging these groups, we're intentionally capturing intergenerational perspectives. So we don't just want to hear from one group, but we want to have, start an intergenerational conversation through this essay competition. So the topic is building a shocks-proof Jamaica, my role in a resilient future. So let me repeat it. Building a shocks-proof Jamaica, my role in a resilient future. And this topic was actually carefully chosen to encourage each group to share their unique ideas, perspectives, and solutions while inspiring hope and aligning with Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan. So you can follow us on our social media pages. We will announce when the gates are open for submissions. And then following submission, of course, we'll go through a judging period. And then we will have, an award ceremony. Now, the Vision 2030 Jamaica, Love Jamaica competitions have really been impactful. You would have heard from a performer who was the winner of the Vision 2030 Jamaica Love Jamaica song competition. And let me tell you, the performance that we got at the award ceremony was different from what we got today, which shows that he has really used the platform to grow, like him really take over the stage, this morning. And so we hope to see that same level of presentation through the essay competition, as well as to feel the empowerment of our people through the different pieces that we'll read. So, I definitely encourage persons, if you know anyone who would be interested, anyone who would fit well into this competition, we encourage you to encourage them to follow us on our Instagram pages, because we will definitely be opening the submission window soon. All right? Thank you very much.
All right, one question. Who's going to enter? Don't all scream at once. But please, I hope that we are going to, enter. People inside here are able to enter. You are qualified for entry, right? They are qualified for entry. So go on ahead and enter. And also you have the opportunity to tell somebody who is very good at writing about this competition. Please spread the word far and wide. We don't want to sit on this information. Please, if you know someone, please tell them that this is now open. The Vision 2030 Jamaica, Love Jamaica essay competition. They want you to showcase your writing skills. All right, we are in the process of launches. So at this time, we're going to be launching MTF. That is the medium-term socioeconomic policy framework. We're inviting Ms. Pisha Bryan Lee, Program Director, and Mr. Travis Reed, Economic Development Specialist, Vision 2030 Jamaica Secretariat, PIOJ, to come forward to give us some information about this framework that will serve as our blueprint for sustainable growth and social development over the coming years. And they promise you they will not be standing too long up here in the way of you and your lunch. Drop the mic now after. Oh, okay. No, we're not going to do that. No. If I took off these heels, we're about the same height. Don't worry. Please make her welcome, please.
All right, okay. Yes, the shortness. You see, she's asking me if I'm okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Not only will I be not standing in the way of lunch, but not standing in the way of entertainment. Okay. All right, so I'm here to officially launch the process to prepare medium-term socioeconomic policy framework 2027 to 2030. MTF, as in for short. The MTF is the main mechanism for implementing Vision 2030 Jamaica, and what it does is it presents government policy, and by that I mean what government is prioritizing in terms of where we're putting budget and programs and the environment that we're creating for the private sector, civil society, etc., to advance development. So that document has everything in one. It comes into effect through cabinet approval, so it is a policy document. So if you want to know what is the policy priority of government for the medium term, you go to the MTF instead of trying to find every document and try to figure it out. So that is what it is. Now, the reason why we're launching this one is that it is the final of 7, and it is the one that takes us to 2030. We will also be taking a broader approach to developing this MTF. Remember, last year we launched our comprehensive evaluation. We had some setbacks because of Hurricane Melissa and some other factors, but largely that. But what we're also doing is we are combining the process of looking forward in developing this MTF. So for all those persons who keep asking what comes next, the fact is the development continues all the time. But what comes next is going to be dependent on you. So your role is to make yourself available, get yourselves informed. How many persons in here know any piece of policy? Anybody in here? Everybody knows a piece of policy? Everybody, who in here has read a policy document recently? I don't see the hands. I see hands that are down, but not up. So the point is, part of us being able to inform a policy framework is to know what exists so that we can speak in an informed way to the gaps. We also need to, in an informed way, look at the data on our sectors. So we need to be able, when we consult with you, to be able to get data-driven responses. We will also be doing research as well. So who will we be speaking to? We'll be speaking to our ministries, departments, and agencies. But we'll also be speaking to private sector, civil society, young people. For one iteration of the MTF, we even spoke to children, and that was very good. Those children spoke to us about policy incoherence. Yes, they did. They said this policy and this policy don't match. And those were kids. So, looking forward to having your input in the MTF. Now, that is basically the launch. You will get more information on the MTF via email, via social media, via other programs. And as I said, we would be short. But let me wrap up by saying what the working theme we're working with is currently. It's resilient growth, global competitiveness, anchored in stability, productivity, participation, and strong institutions. And based on the fireside chat, based on what Mr. Cox just said, I think that our team is on the right track. Note, however, that the theme is not set in stone. As we go through the MTF process, we look, and it could be slightly modified, but that is our working team, and that is what we will be coming to you in terms of the broad framework for discussion. Thank you once again for coming today. Thank you for being a part of Vision 2030 Jamaica, and together we make Jamaica the place of choice to live, to work, to raise families, and do business, because as a Jamaican, my country is the greatest.
Absolutely. Our country is the absolute greatest. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us the information. Thank you, Miss Pisha Bryan Lee. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are winding down, but this would not be a true Jamaican event, right? Without us continuing the high energy with some entertainment. It is time to turn up the vibe a little bit more. Are you ready? I mean, don't all say yeah at one time, but please do. Are you ready? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have an artist who's going to be coming in. And as the tech team gets ready, we want you to turn your attentions to the screen, because I do believe that we have a little video of someone who we're referring to as Elder Flames. And this is a gentleman who, he time and again, he showcases his dancing skills all the time. And tech team, there we go. Press play for me. Ladies and gentlemen, Elder Flames. Hey, 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 hey. On beat. And with that said, please welcome to the stage, High Flames.
I want flames in
Sir Cox.
I want flames in Watch your vibes and me bring us up. Turn it up. No. Mash it up. That style you go stay so them curry up. If you can't catch it, dance, so we hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. That dance are too bad, I bet you can't catch this. Let's say a girl, I watch me like Netflix. Purple jeans, I beat it authentic. Step in the beast and GLE. So catch this style when you all of them want to. High Flames are lead me now ask you. Baby, there's a call you. Beat them t-shirt, me can't set your hand like a banana. Yo, catch 50 and a clap. Make you say me slingshot from another chop. Because so, real dance make you. Them a follow and I watch the style. Happy nice. We still a dance is happy vibes. Baby dirt, Papi Kyle. Party now done so now. Watch the vibes and me bring us up. Turn it up. Watch the DJ mash it up. That style you go stay so them hurry up. If you can't catch it dance, then we hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Next track.
Yo, Flames we here.
Hey, I want flames in now.
Frank White. I want Kaka.
What Kaka? The new prodigy. Yeah, give it away, give it away, give it away. Look on this here. Yeah, Kaka, my friend.
It's like catching you that same charge. It's sitting on no yard. So give away, make my mash up in the dog in the dolly sun. Then the Barbie, them a go on. So catch you dance me, I beg you go so charge. Charge. I charge. I'm ready. I go so. I mean, I know no just a dancer. You not have to ask me for it. Inna the party, I go like she a bad Barbie. The shoes they chill. Hey, so catch your face, she a charge. I go so charge. I watch it dance now.
But anyways,
slap it up.
Yeah.
Mash it up.
Yeah.
I never do it but me.
No.
Hey, so catch your bones, we say. Touch the next track, oh God. Flames. Ella Flames are there today, no? So me, I want them, we can't jug out one of my friend them. When we start that verse there, they go jug you out today, cause you can't go run me today. Flames, oh. Jano. Professor Andre, yeah man, we are jogging out to the door. Flames. Mr. Put it up there. I have to draw you out today. You ready? Say. I got mash it up with me. Alright, touch it again. I want flames. Alright, so here we go. We'll go left and then we'll go right. Ready? Left, right. left, right, and then left, and then right, and then left. But more you can stir fry, so go so stir fry, stir fry, stir fry, stir fry, stir fry. We can let go the bird. We make the bird fly. All right then, let go the bird, let go the bird, let go the bird, let go the bird, let go. Hey, all right, everything together now. So left, right, left, again, left, right, and then remember how to stir fry. All right then, stir fry, stir fry, stir fry, stir fry, stir fry, and then we let go the bird. No, all right then, let go the bird. Hey, let go the bird. Hey, let go the bird. Hey, let go. Touch it again, the selector. I want flames in hey, hey. Flame drop, oh dad, you're too bad. Hey, a flame jack a fit take over. Nova Scotia, the bossy box, everybody touch your shoulder. I told the left man a rock it like Cosa, full suit, a close cologne, a top phone. Let me take a next step, and them a take said, as she a move to the beat, get your foot there. I mean not take check, you ready head set. We just a singing at the boot, I mean not take no check, cause so catchy, but still a dance, so catchy, dance, but still a dance, so catchy, dance, but still a dance, so catchy. Flames. Oh, give me the next shot there.
Timeless. You ready for that one, yeah? High flame. Yeah. Dan Marley. Wanna get set. Ready?
Hey, everybody get you dance, everybody get you rock. Put out with that. Global, you're gonna see a rock. Everybody get you dance, everybody get you rock. I dance, me I tell you no stop. Hey, now one a tougher than a rough top. The dopey them a dance, don't a duff cat. Catch it dolly them a dance, I'm love that. Now one a low, I'ma be my way a whole shot. Move your foot a day, stop that. Get wild and running now. Nah, no time for no talking a hook chat. Stop the yard, new dance if you bust that. Stop the yard, it bad, it bad, it bad, it bad. Stop the yard, it bad, it bad, it bad. Hey, stop the yard, it bad, it bad, it bad, it bad. Stop the yard, it bad, it bad, it bad. Hey, I'm so fling your butt, not turn over. Me don't tell them to say flames that take over. When me for drive, they be man the rover. A magnum, me a beat, me not sober. Change she dance, man, madder than them. Brand new dance, are the new anthem. Stamp your foot, and swing your anthem. Double up your foot, make your knee. Give me the next shot.
You have been promoted.
Hey, I got some.
You are now one of my elite employees.
Hey, Mykro. Full of style, so me skiller than them. Me a bring back a dance, Macarena back then. All who are on the place, me no hear from them. From when me a put in the work, that's why me a take it to them from Stokey. Now me kill the beat, I'm on a rookie. Me still a sing shots, smooth with it, me no cookie. Everybody do the dance, go so.
Hey, Macarena.
And everybody do the dance, brand and a mash up in a better. Catch it dance, baby, dirt a winner. One Maca 2, Maca 3, Macarena.
Hey, Macarena.
And everybody do the dance, DJ a mash up in a better. Catch it dance, car 50 a winner. One Maca 2, Maca 3, Macarena.
Hey, Macarena.
Alright then, Macarena, 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 Maca. I'm gonna get the next one there, bro. Macarena, Macarena. Alright, so this is Baby Dirt High Flames. Well, Baby Dirt there. This is Baby Dirt High Flames. Alright, Baby Dirt, Baby Dirt, Baby Dirt, Baby Dirt, Baby Dirt, Baby Dirt. This is 50 High Flames. Alright then, $1, $1, $1, $1, $1. This is Saski Flames. Hey, Saski Flames, Saski Flames, Saski Flames, Saski Flames, Saski Flames, Saski Flames. This is DJ High Flames. Alright then, DJ Flames, DJ Flames, DJ Flames, DJ Flames, DJ Flames, DJ Flames. I got slick shot. This is Kaka High Flames. So you go, hey, Kaka Flames. Hey, that is it. Big up on yourself, hear that?
Make some noise for High Flames. Oh my gosh, our performers are the best, right? Yeah, man, I would love to see Jamaican young people performing and doing great. And trust me, Jamaican dance has managed to be one of our largest exports worldwide. When I tell us that we have a dancer as part of our RJR Gleaner Communications group called Orville Hall. And there's no place that Orville has not been teaching Jamaican dance moves. Germany, Dubai, South Korea, even in some of the most conservative countries, there is a demand for Jamaican dancers worldwide. So we have to really encourage the young people when we see them. It's not just a little shoulder fling and a little 1-2 steps that they're doing. Who to tell? They could actually be representing Jamaica somewhere in the world as dance ambassadors, right? So one more time, please, for High Flames. Yeah, man. They did good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're winding down. I see that we have plates on the tables, knives and forks on the tables, and I know what time it is. It's lunchtime. And so we're going to invite Mrs. Rochelle White, Senior Technical Advisor to the Director General, to come forward to give us a vote of thanks and to make way for afternoon soups and salads.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's very hard to follow what just went, but good afternoon again. As we bring this staging of the Vision 2030 Jamaica Love Fest to a close, it is my privilege to extend sincere appreciation to all who contributed to today's successful and meaningful engagement. Our Director General, Dr. Wayne Henry, he started out this morning by guiding us and giving us some insights, setting the tone for today's discussions. We acknowledge all our distinguished guests and partners, including representatives from the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the JMEA, the United Nations Resident Coordinator's Office, who was represented by Mr. Zulu, colleagues from other ministries, departments, and agencies, or private sector, civil society partners, and all specially invited guests for joining us both in person and online. I want to sincerely thank our presenters and panelists who did very well today for sharing perspectives that enrich today's dialogue on resilience, innovation, and growth. I extend sincere appreciation as well to Mrs. Samantha Wilmot Wilby and Ms. Pisha Bryan Lee, who both contributed to today's important launch activities. We recognize the recipients and participants in our special segments, including the Vision 2030 Jamaica Love Jamaica champion, who was quite surprised this morning by her award and gave a if she was surprised, it didn't show in the way how she thanked us, because that speech was perfect. And our audience engagement activities, which brought both energy and connection to the day's proceedings. I want to thank our performers and creative contributors, Dee Burns, who left, alongside DMG, Melek Richards, and High Flames, whose performances reminded us of the strength of our culture and creative expression. To our Master of Ceremonies, always a pleasure to have Ms. Bisoon with us. Thank you for your professionalism, warmth, and steady guidance throughout the program. Behind the scenes, the Vision 2030 Jamaica Secretariat. They worked so hard to put this event together. The organizing committee, technical teams, and support staff who diligently ensured that we had a smooth execution of today's event. To all participants, thank you for your presence, your engagement, and your continued commitment to national development. As we enjoy lunch, I want us to continue to fall deeper in love with our country, not only through celebration, but through deliberate action, collaboration, and shared responsibility, working together to build a resilient, inclusive, and prosperous Jamaica. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event.
At which point, Dr. Cox is going to be dancing for us and singing for us. Or maybe we can do a duet, sir. How about that, yes? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Give yourselves a rousing round of applause. You've been an excellent audience. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for, of course, giving us your time here. It was really a joy to be here and to celebrate Jamaica's resilience, creativity, and our shared commitment to national development. We truly appreciate your participation throughout the day's proceedings. And just to tell you that we're going to be having some live music that will be continuing a little while longer, so you can relax and enjoy the music. And for those of us inside this space, we're going to, of course, eat together, because a family that eats together achieves together. There we go. I like that. I like that. For our online audience, we want to invite you to stay tuned. We have some giveaways on our Instagram and Facebook pages. So make sure that you, of course, keep it locked to our pages, Vision 2030 JA, for the opportunity to walk away with something there. On behalf of the Planning Institute of Jamaica and the Vision 2030 Jamaica Secretariat, I wish you a wonderful afternoon. Please continue to wave Jamaica's flag high, high, high. My name is Debbie Bissoon. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much. It's lunchtime. Okay.
Jamaica, the land of wood and water. The system might not proper. Well, and let me say, whoa, can't you see the beauty of this country? Me never know a serious thing until me reach a foreign. So what a nice place to live. The only problem is one more time. And what a nice place to live. The only one more time, help me big up. And I say, help me big up Jamaica, the land of wood and water. This is the night. Me love me food and me culture. Oh, can't you see the beauty of this country? And me never know a serious thing till we're there when me go a foreign. I want a nice place to live. The only problem is that I want a nice place to live. The only problem is wait, I'm done. Alright, and now we switch it up. Alright, and now we switch it up now. The boys same time. Alright, and now me and me brethren them chilling from the corner. Light up a fire and a boiled green banana. A little more we have to go out the hell shop. Whoa. Make a stop by me girlfriend Lana. Long time I see her, a long time me wanna turn up the music inside of the Bimaya. Whoa. And if you know it sing, I feel like jumping to the reggae beat. And then me bubble up me body and me move the feet. Feel like jumping to the vibration. Sweet Jamaica. Whoa. Listen to this melody, let me see you one. Feel like Jamaica, let me see you one. Whoa, sweet Jamaica. Sweet Jamaica. Sweet Jamaica, we not live. We love we Yankee and we salvage, we not live. We love we Jamaica, we not live. We say we love Jamaica, we not live. Cause yeah we there. I said yeah we there. Which part we there? I said yeah we there. Which part we there? You know. I said yeah we there. Again I said sweet Jamaica, we not live. The Yankee and selfish, we not live. They are my banana. The cassava. We talk about the fried fritters and the escovitch fish. I talk about the cup soup. Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about sweet Jamaica, sweet Jamaica, sweet Jamaica. Yes, sir. Now this one is called Sweet and